Welcome to today's video. I'm going to share about why you might feel insecure. So insecurity is a big thing that a lot of us face. A lot of us have areas of life where we don't feel as worthy or as confident. And so when we're on a path of self-development, we want to be able to understand, why are we afraid? Why are we insecure? Why are we lacking confidence? And what I'm going to outline for you today are some contributing factors that might be making you insecure. So first thing when I think about insecurity and working with a client is childhood. Childhood is a source of so much of our programming, so much of that early experience that gives us a sense of who we are, what we're good at, what we're bad at, for better or for worse. So some of us have been in family systems that weren't the most stable, and maybe our parents were exhausted, maybe they were trying the best they could, and they told us who we were. So this can be a part of life where we get a lot of negative beliefs about ourselves. So for a moment, think about your own life, think about your childhood. Did your parents tell you what you're good at, what you're bad at? I have a friend and she was one of three. And her mom said, you're the interesting one, she's the smart one, he's the attractive one. So a lot of insecurity can stem from childhood experiences where we were told a certain belief about us. And if that belief was negative, say we weren't attractive enough, we weren't smart enough, we weren't good at something, we were shy, we were clumsy, anything that had an energy of negative, usually we take that on as to be true. We took that on as fact. And that these sources of wounding or these early childhood experiences they're like seeds, and they sprout all throughout our life until we do necessary healing work and reprogramming work to take that seed out so it no longer grows. I had a client who was obsessed with playing basketball, but his dad said, you're actually not good at basketball. And through his entire life, he decided to go the route that his dad said. So he ended up, mid-30s in finance, and he was losing so much of his excitement, of his joy, because he wasn't doing what he really wanted to do. And as we talked and tried to discuss, where is this insecurity to leave finance and do something that you really want to? He discovered, because his dad told him early on he wasn't good at the thing he was most excited by, he decided to cut off from that possibility. Even when our parents, our caregivers, our teachers, anyone in our life, when they're trying to do something good for us, maybe they're trying to protect us, oftentimes they limit us. And these early experiences have a huge impact on us later in life. So think about, what messages did you get about yourself? What beliefs do you still hold to be true that you got when you were a child? Unpackaging some of those beliefs and understanding them will allow you to say, do I want to keep this, or do I want to let this go? And that's where starting to heal and reprogram your mind can be a beneficial practice to overcome this level of insecurity. Another source of insecurity is social comparison and pressure. So because so many of us are attached to social media, we are constantly comparing ourselves to other people, even if we know them or not. We look at how often they go on vacation, how nice their designer handbags are, how fit they are, what their relationship looks like, and all day long, we end up comparing us. And I will say, this might be controversial, but it's great to look at someone and be inspired by them. But if you're comparing yourself to them, this is going to cause you to feel insecure. And when we are in that insecure place, it's very unlikely that we will have the mindset, the energy, and the willpower to actually accomplish the goals and the desires that we want. So if you are scrolling through social media and you're asking yourself, why can't I be there? No, you can be there, and allow yourself to reframe and redirect that energy and be inspired by it, and let that guide where you're putting your attention, your focus, and your energy. Related to social comparison is societal pressure. And this is where you feel judged by others. Being judged by others is a fear that so many of us have. And it has its roots in our evolutionary past. And the reason why is because we want to be accepted. And as a result of wanting to be accepted, oftentimes we're not living our truth. We're not doing what we really want to be doing. We're not saying what we really think and feel. Being authentic to yourself requires the courage to be disliked. And so if there's a norm, a societal pressure, a cultural indicator of who you should be, and in your heart you do not feel that, be authentic to yourself. This is one of the clearest ways that we can overcome insecurity, because you're never going to feel at peace if you're faking it, if you're not expressing yourself truly. And when you are fully expressing yourself, that's when the light and the beauty and the radiance of your own soul comes out. So the insecurity to be like everyone else, courage needs to be played. Courage needs to come in so you can be yourself, appreciate yourself, love yourself, and step aside from any expectation, societal pressure, or cultural norm that is repressing or limiting you. The third aspect that makes us insecure is when we have no self-compassion, no self-worth, and no self-love. When we are our harshest critic, when we expect perfection from ourselves, when we have no grace to give ourselves, but we have grace to give everyone else, it is going to result in a disalignment and insecurity. One thing I see with a lot of clients is they make a mistake and then they get emotional about that mistake, and then they are hard on themselves about getting emotional about the mistake and the mistake. So they're just wrapping themselves in these expectations that they've set for themselves that they don't expect anywhere else. Now, I'm all for being really honest with yourself, telling yourself where you need to do the work, where you can be better. But it needs to be sourced from a place of internal love and acceptance, and not hate and constant criticism. I've spent so many years of my life being so harsh, so critical, and expecting perfection from myself. And that just got me further from feeling confident, because my expectations were so high and I could never meet them. Then I never felt good enough and adequate. And it wasn't until I started to align my mind, my body, my heart, my spirit, my soul, did I actually start to feel good enough. So if you're having a hard time giving yourself grace or being compassionate or allowing yourself to fail and make mistakes, then you need to connect to your own worth and your own self-love. And if this portion speaks to you, in the comments, write alignment, and I'll send you my free guide that goes into a lot of incredible practices of how to align. Because in my experience, working with hundreds of people who've felt bad about themselves, who haven't been fit enough, good enough, worthy enough, the approach of holistically looking at ourselves through the mind, body, spirit, soul lens is the only way I've ever found for myself and others that they can overcome this sense of inadequacy. Okay, the fourth thing that brings in insecurity is when we have unresolved trauma or wounds that we have not processed or dealt with. When we've gone through negative experiences and traumas, whether it's the intense traumas of emotional, sexual, physical abuse, or what's considered the little t traumas of just being bullied or picked on or told that you're fat or you're poor, any of these things collect in our mind. These wounds need to be healed. And if something has not been healed, it has a lot of room to become infected. And that's what happens when we have these wounds that we have not done adequate healing work to overcome. So think about breaking an arm. If you break your arm and you don't do anything for it, how long do you think you'll be able to do your regular life without feeling pain or limited by that arm break? Alternatively, If you were to go to the doctor, reset it, get a cast, it would be quite bothersome for maybe 6 to 8 weeks until it heals. But likely if you took care of it and you did the necessary PT afterwards, that arm would be fine for years. And so this is the urgency of trying to figure out what wounds are holding you back and invest in your own healing. It is only when we heal that we can really forgive ourselves, forgive others, and fully let it go. So deep wounds and trauma can be a source that allows insecurity to continuously grow. So those are 4 sources that insecurity can come up in our life. And if you're experiencing one of the 4 or maybe all 4, know, I have never worked with anyone who hasn't been able to overcome the source of their insecurity. And when you've overcome it, then you can really step forward in courage, in will, in perseverance, and in passion to be able to create exactly the life you want. If you have insecurity running in the background, it impacts how you step forward in life. It impacts what you think, what you believe, and what you do. So if any of these came up for you, I encourage you, do the healing work. Ask yourself what you need to overcome the source of insecurity so you can pursue your life and your dreams with all the energy moving forward. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll see you next time. Thank you.